pew pews work after the apocalypse.
All right, go watch her video. She makes some excellent points, and I think she's looking at, post the world falling apart in a way that a lot of people don't, and a lot of people need to see that. So I'm sure we all know similar types of people, and I know quite a few people who think they would do great in the apocalypse. They think that they have it down, that they can just make it work, and as she states quite early on, because they have pew pews, they think that they've got it on lock. And so yeah, I think at the beginning, I think, if you will, if the apocalypse comes in waves, in that first wave, I think that a lot of people with firearms are going to be safe for a little bit. And ammo does last for a while as far as shelf life, but there's going to come a point where that's not going to be useful anymore. Also, you're going to find quite quickly that a lot of those people are going to be the first people to be attacked because they have firearms. Now, they may be able to fend off some attacks, but there's always going to be larger groups. There's always going to be larger brigades of people that are going to start just taking stuff. And that's definitely an issue. And you have to be able to defend yourself. That's the part that's not necessarily fun. For me, when I fantasize the apocalypse, and this is kind of off topic of this in a way, but when I fantasize the apocalypse, I'm more of a hunter-gatherer or scavenger, if you will. So I'm more in tune with after things quiet down, I can just gather stuff. And we're back at a spot where things aren't great, but we're trading goods back and forth. I think that things are better to a degree at that. But anyway, back to the topic of things. No, and she's right, too. Your neighbors are going to come after your stuff because you've known them, right? You've known them the entire time you've lived there. And maybe you didn't talk much, but now that things are falling apart, they feel a real sense of community. And they really just want to, maybe if we stick together and, yeah, no. Sorry, no. What you're going to see in an apocalypse situation is you're going to see the realization for a lot of people the laws don't matter anymore. They're going to assume they are the law and do what they want. So that means they're going to take what they want, they're going to shoot who they want, those kind of things. All those things are going to take place. They're going to feel emboldened to do as they please because there's no law enforcement anymore. There is no law because the world's ended. And they're going to continue to do those types of things because they can. Which means people that would normally be very reserved and maybe follow the law are going to have to not to, as backwards as that sounds. For example, if I'm encountering people who are armed and I feel they're a threat, I'm probably going to be less reserved about doing something about it, right? But that could be dangerous in itself, and you got to weigh that, because just because you're armed and you may be able to take matters in your own hands doesn't mean that that's going to immediately alleviate the problems. Because let's say those people have friends. Now you're in danger by them. Now you're constantly going to be on edge, and more so than you normally thought you would be. So any answers where people are like, well, I'm armed, I can do what I want, it's not going to work that way. It's not. Maybe in the first few months, but if even that, past that, it's just not going to work. And while you're armed and you have prepped for nothing else, you're going to end up going because the common cold is going to get you because you didn't prep properly or you don't know what to do. And for those people, there are people who are preppers out there who seem to have everything handled, but somebody always misses something. And I think the key to that is, what's missed always, is that there has to be a sense of community. That's how we survive. And right now, that's why things are in such disarray. We have no sense of community. We have corporations that provide goods to us. We are unable to barter with ourselves. People become increasingly combative in trade. I do resell, and the way people act a lot of time, and I'm charging for goods. I'm not trading, I'm charging for goods. But the way people act is really ridiculous. Even in marketplaces like Craigslist and stuff, which is more akin to what a survival situation would be. If you think about it, it's like, I'm putting my good up, I'd like to trade for it or to sell it. People are getting more and more unreasonable. You see it there. So people need to be able to communicate better, need to be able to work together better, but it's just not going to happen. And that's why things will just fall apart even more so. There will be no sense of community. We don't have neighborhoods anymore. And I don't like the idea of neighborhoods as it is, because people are nosy. They just are really ruthless. Look at the Nextdoor Neighborhood app. Go view in there and see how petty people are. See how ruthless people are to each other. They're smiles on the surface, but they're rude to each other otherwise. Those neighborhoods where you see that, those are going to be the first to tear each other apart. You'll see that. So anyway, what are your thoughts on this, guys? Again, if you haven't, go watch her video. She has some great insights on things. I don't generally read books with a romantic twinge to them. I'm looking at the series here with the stuff she's got. She's got a plague series and stuff, and I don't know. I would have to try one out. I generally don't get into like books with a romance twinge to them, but I think it's important we have literature like this that mixes genres, so that people that wouldn't normally read one genre read the other. It's very important for things. So anyway, yeah. So what are your thoughts on this, guys? What do you think, and how do you think it's going to look like when the world ends? What do you think people are going to do, and who do you think is least safe?